everyone, welcome to my channel. It's me, Mish, the Dorky Reader. Today's video is, of course, that monthly TBR jar video where I choose a bunch of books with my trusty TBR jar so that I have a nice big stack to choose from in the month of April. My garden is starting to bloom and I'm really excited. There's all these little buds coming out from the ground. My lilies are coming up. My peonies have their little weird red spikes coming out from the ground. I've got some flowers already. My rose bushes did really well this winter, so they didn't die. And so I had planted 3 new rose bushes last year in a little garden I was digging up, and I'm really excited that they're all still alive. There's some things that didn't come back, as if you're a gardener, you know, just different seasons, different things. So I think in this coming month, I'm going to be spending a lot of time outside. So I hope I can get through my TBR well this month, but I'm not so sure. I'm going to be honest with you. In the month of March, though, I did pretty well. It's only the 22nd of March right now, and I'm about halfway through my 4th book, and so I'm thinking by the end of March, if I'm lucky, I'll have finished about 5, because I'll finish the one I'm on and then pick another one, and that'll be that. The one I'm reading right now is a bit thicker, so it has taken me a little bit of time, but it's really good, so that's exciting. And I guess that's all for that. So I don't have Odin with me today. He is out with his father doing a fun activity with some kayaking, and so it's just me and my 2 daughters. So I'm gonna have them choose the prompts for me, and then I'll take place of Odin and choose the 3rd prompts there. Okay, so I'm gonna call one in and we'll get started. I've got Emma here, and she's gonna choose the very first prompt for April.
Which one should I do? This one, that's pink.
Okay, let's see.
My favorite color.
Okay, it says a book with a door on the cover. Thank you, Emma. All right, for the first prompt, Emma gave me a book with a door on the cover. I don't know why it's not focusing, but there it is. And so I went through, and it took me a really long time to find books, but then once I went on a roll, I couldn't stop myself, and Emma was helping me grab books left and right. So I actually have more here than I need to go over, so I'll just pick a couple at random and choose between those. So the first I have, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's in the background, it's in the house Sapphire or Sapphire. In the background there's this doorway that's open. I'll get my face out of the frame. That you can see that this red blood or whatever is trickling down the stairs from. So that is one option. It is by one of my favorite authors, Marissa Meyer. She is really fun. At least her Lunar Chronicles were a whirlwind of adventure and excitement. I don't know, this has a completely different premise, so I'm not sure where this one will go, but I know that her writing was very easy to digest and it kept you going. So I have high hopes for this one. Another book I have is Whisper by Lynette Leone. I don't know too much about this, except that this cover, and as you can see the door and the thing, is a dystopian novel of some sort. So let me just real quick check out the back. Lengard is a secret government facility for extraordinary people, they told me, and I believed them, and that was my mistake. There isn't anyone else in the world like me. I'm different. I'm an anomaly. I'm a monster. For 2 years, 6 months, 14 days, 11 hours, and 16 minutes, subject 684, Jane Doe, has been locked away and experimented on without uttering a single word. As Jane's resolve begins to crack under the influence of her new and unexpectedly kind evaluator, she uncovers the truth about Lengard's mysterious program, discovering that her own secret is at the heart of a sinister plot, and one wrong move, one wrong word could change the world. So I like that kind of thing. That sounds like it's going to be really exciting. Dystopian books tend to push you through them super fast, and it's not a really long book, so that is exciting. And I know when I bought it as a set, the first and the second book together, so I would be able to jump right in if I wanted to and read book 2. So that is also high on my list. Another book here I have is The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I've heard a lot of really good things about this. I do know this is more of a cozy fantasy, and sometimes the stakes aren't high enough to keep my interest, and if I know I'm going to be busy gardening and doing all sorts of other hobbies in the springtime, that it might make it hard for me to reach for a book if I'm kind of like lazy with it, if it's kind of a boring story. Though I don't want to say that this one is, because I don't know enough about it to know that for sure. I know that this one features a queer romance, and it also has kind of like this orphanage out by the sea for misfit children or something, or magical children, I'm not exactly sure. And this guy, he's kind of like a caretaker there, and this guy comes to inspect it, and maybe there's a romance that blooms there, and they take care of these kids together. I have no idea. Something very cute and cozy, and it sounds good, but I don't know. It has lots of really good reviews. Another option I have is the Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop. I got this recently when I was at Barnes & Noble at the checkout in the cafe. Sometimes they'll have these deals where you can pick up a book for $5 along with your coffee if you buy a coffee, and this was one of them. So I was like, $5? Like, yeah, okay, because normally it's $13. So I couldn't resist the bargain. Also, as I've been studying Japanese a lot more, my interest in their literature has increased, and I'm trying to be more familiarized with some of their writing. I know they have a really common theme of like bookshops or coffee shops where you go and trade secrets, regrets, or something along those lines. You can change one thing in your past. And that seems to be a really recurring theme in a lot of these synopses I'm reading from these books. And they're very popular right now. So this would be a good chance to kind of dip my toes in to that world. Also, it's super short, which is really nice, and probably one I could take along anywhere and just finish whenever. And let's see here, there's so many books on this stack. I don't want to grab them all, do I? Ooh. Oh, here's one that's really good looking, but it might be a bit much right off the bat, and that's Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This book features two students who are following their professor into hell to rescue him, or some odd thing, and there's some kind of a romance involved, but it's definitely going to have dark academia vibes, and it's going to feel like R.F. Kuang. She's a very smart woman, so a lot of her writing kind of has that kind of vibe to it. But I don't know, it's going to be good, but I feel like whenever I think of dark academia, I think of fall, I think of September, and I'm not thinking the early buds of spring. However, I will say, look how gorgeous this edition is. Isn't that really pretty? The covers, the side things. I don't want my eyeballs to ruin your shot of the thing, because my camera wants my eyes. It doesn't want the book. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, and the last one I'll put on here, even though there's a whole stack to the side, is Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter. Again, this one looks really cute. I love cats. I'm a crazy cat lady. I've got 4. And so I am really intrigued. I hear this is kind of going to be like a bumbling, awkward romance, kind of, again, what's the word again? As a cozy, yeah, the cozy vibes. I'm not always in a cozy mood, so I'm not sure if I'm in that mood right now, starting in spring. I think in spring my energy level is higher because of all those hobbies and things that kick into place. So I'm looking for more fast-paced books and more, let's get them, let's do some action, you know, like that kind of thing feels more exciting. And I think my cat wants outside, so I'm going to press pause. Alright, so I've returned. Keith is outside happily enjoying the spring. He's the only one I allow outside. We found him outside, and he is insistent. If he wants outside, he will not stop. He will find a way to escape. So he's the only one that gets to go out and enjoy the sunshine. The rest are indoor kitties, so don't worry about their safety. But anyway, of these books that I just went over, I'm going to bypass the 2 cozy books right off the bat, just because, like I said, I feel like I want something fast-paced. And maybe later on in, you know, as I'm drawing things and I have a few really good action-packed books that are exciting, then maybe I'll choose something cozy to balance it in case I find myself in that mood. But for now, I'm going to skip that. I'm also going to skip Catabasis because I think this feels more dark academia fall. And I'm going to go with, I'm either gonna choose The House Sapphire by Marissa Meyer, whom I really admire, and I think this one is kind of like a ghost story, but it should be a little creepy, or I'll do Whisper by Lynette Noni. I feel like, have I read something by Lynette Noni, or is she someone that I've got some other book. I'll have to look that up in a minute. I'm really curious. It's The Prison Healer. I loved that first book. I haven't continued her series yet. I need to. But I think I'm gonna go with her book too. I think it sounded really interesting. I like dystopian books, and I think that'll really keep like my energy interested in books for the spring. So the first book is Whisper. Ooh. Okay, now we'll have Heidi come out. All right, here comes Heidi, and she's fat. Whoa, whoa! Almost landed in the tea, and that would have been tragic. Oh. Okay, so her prompt that she threw at me was a book with a color in the title. And don't worry, guys, like I talked to her before this whole thing started. She did want to pull the prompt, so it's not like she's throwing it at me in anger. That's just how she expresses her love for me in her weird way. She's just like, phew. Okay, so a book with a color in the title. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through these really fast because there's so many, and then we'll just kind of weed them out fast. So the first one I have is Green Rider by Kristen Britton. And that's the cover. It's an older paperback. Second, I have, and I count this, Golden Sun, golden being the color, like a golden field, you know, or something along those lines. This is the second book in the Red Rising series. My first impression of Red Rising, the first book, was that it was well written. I enjoyed it. I did not love it as some did. I thought it was a little too aggressive, maybe, like in its style. Like I had a hard time sympathizing or empathizing with the characters because I thought some of them were kind of brutes, honestly, and there was a little bit of, I mean, I know that sexism exists in books, so it's not like I'm shocked by that at all, and I don't mind it usually because it usually fits with the story, and it did, but it just wasn't my favorite. However, I've heard so many people talk about how the second book is where, like, after the first book, everything just takes off and the series becomes epic, and it just is like the best thing that people have ever read. So I really want to give book 2 a chance. So that is my other option. I also have Song of Silver, Flame Like Night. And this is by Amelie Wen Xiao, who also wrote The Scorpion and the Night Blossom, which is a book I recently read in February, and I really loved it. And so I want to give this author a go. I did a long time ago when I first bought this book, when it first came out, I tried reading it a little bit and I liked it, but I think something happened or whatever, and I just stopped reading it back then because I would allow myself to do that, to just do whatever. And then I read a different book and I never went back to it. So I would like to give this book another shot and just read it all the way through and enjoy it for what it is. Another option I have is Glenn Cook, The Chronicles of the Black Company. This is actually 3 books in one, but the first book is called The Black Company. So I would be reading just the first book in this, what do they call that when you have like a book and it's like, I think it starts with a C. Oh, I can't remember the word, but basically like a chunky chronicles of something where you have all 3 in one. I want to say compodium, and that is absolutely not right, but that's where my brain goes. Like, just it says random stuff and says, that's the word, just use that. You'll sound really intelligent. That's not the case. So anyway, The Black Company by Glenn Cook. This is an epic kind of fantasy with lots of wars and battles and cool things, and I like that kind of stuff. So there's that option, and then the last one I have is Mary Lou's Red City, which people are raving about right now. It's a really big hit, so that is also a good option. People say it's really binge-worthy too, which would be good for my thing. So of these books, oh gosh, I think I'm gonna go with Golden Sun. This also is supposedly really high like stakes, fast, exciting, and it's sci-fi. And I love sci-fi. So honestly, I think this is a great option for me in the spring when my energy level, like I said, is so high. So Golden Sun is book 2, thanks to Heidi's prompt here, a book with a color in the title. Okay, that means I get to pick one. Yay! I don't know what I'll pick. There's like a little orange one down here. I'm gonna see what this is. If it's with Odin, like his shirt color or something, then we'll just have to put it back in the jar. Nope, it says a book with a single word title. Okay, I will be back with some options. Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a King Arthur inspired urban fantasy. It's another really large series that I don't know if I want to jump into right now, but I do know that I've been itching to get into it, and it sounds really good and fast paced and like something I would really love. So this one and this one, I have a really big stack here, so I don't know which ones I'm gonna start or not, or go over. Another option I have is Gilded by Marissa Meyer, and this is a fairy tale retelling. And since I didn't grab a Marissa Meyer earlier, I'm like really wanting to maybe grab this one so that I can start another one of her books, because she's an author I've read before and really liked, so it's like I trust it to be good. Does that make sense? So Gilded sounds really good, and I think this is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling if I am correct. So there's more on that list, but honestly I think I'm gonna stick to just these 3 because these are the ones that grab my attention the most at first. So, I want to read all of them. God, that's so hard. Do I do a reread? Like I said, I have plans to do this so that I can read Red City someday, and I liked it. But I am more like, I think to be more exciting, I'm going to pick one of these 2 because I feel like that'll grab my attention more. So I have Legendborn by Tracy Dion or Gilded by Marissa Meyer, and I think I'm gonna go with, oh man, I really want to start this series. I'm gonna do Legendborn by Tracy Dion this time around, to give me something different, because I've got a lot of sci-fi and dystopian options that I keep pulling up, and I know I'm gonna gravitate towards those later. So I want this urban fantasy to be put in there because I know that the YA fast-paced fantasy is probably a little better for me, and I think this Marissa Meyer, I could be wrong, is more adult and maybe a little slower than her other ones. So Legendborn it is. Okay, I'm gonna have Emma come and grab the next one. Okay, I've got Emma here, and she's gonna come pull my next prompt for book 4. Doop. Do you choose like by color, or do you like, what do you pick when you look? I wonder.
I usually pick by color, but sometimes I just do whatever I want.
Okay. Let's see if you can read it. It might be hard.
A book with a
A monarch, that's right.
Mark in the title.
Okay.
Queen, king,
etc. The etc means etc, which means kind of like queen, king, etc, meaning princess, prince, that kind of thing. Cool. Or emperor or whatever. Awesome. All right, I've got a huge stack of books with monarchs in the title. I have Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tully. I know this is a really popular series. I'm a little worried that I might not like it, but that might be good to put on the TBR stack so that if I grab it and I start to read it and I don't like it, I can unhaul it. But it could be good. Those kind of books always go, it's like a 50-50 chance. I also have Curse of the Wolf King, same scenario for me, another kind of romantasy. However, this is one of the first books I bought for myself in my new library. It was this and its sequel, The Raven Prince or something, and I think they just sounded kind of like they could be fun, and I have no idea if they're good or not. It would be nice to finally, after all these years, pick it up, read it, see what I think. It's by Tessonia Odette. Another one I have, and I'm more interested in this one, is The Iron King, because this is by Julie Kagawa, who wrote the Shadow of the Fox trilogy that I really, really liked. I didn't love the ending, but I really liked the trilogy, so her writing style is potentially right up my alley. Then I have The Scorpion Queen by Nina Fears. This one doesn't have as great of ratings, I think, on Goodreads, but I just absolutely love the cover. I remember finding this in my used bookstore and just needing it. I had to have it. So I am excited to read this one too. And I believe there is an element of some kind of like this girl, she's doing something noble to save another girl, and I don't know, there's some other stuff going on. So it sounds exciting. We'll see. If I choose it, I'll look more into it. The other option is The Poet Empress by Chantel. This one has been blowing up right now, and a lot of people really love it. And I guess there's magic in words and poetry, and that could be really interesting. And the last option I have is The Queen of the Tierling by Erica Johansson. Now, I've heard this is an incredible series. However, I've also heard, again, this one may have a sad ending. And seeing as how I've read several books recently that ended in a way that I didn't love because there was no happily ever after, I'm not sure if I want to step into another trilogy where that happens right away. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I remember, I think, hearing it briefly, and that's why I have not picked up the series right away, because I'm like, no, don't break my heart. I don't want that right now. But if I do choose to get my heart broken in the future, I think this one would be a good option. Maybe I should make that a prompt once I refill my jar. A book that'll break your heart. So we'll see. So I'm gonna put that one down. I'm gonna put down, which other one? I'm not feeling the Trial of the Sun Queen this time around. So those are 2. Now I've got 4 left. I'm gonna choose to not read The Scorpion Queen this time because I didn't brush up enough on the lore of the book, so I don't really know what I'm getting into. This one's gonna have Faye, and it's by Julie Kogawa, so I think that's really good. Ooh. I've got all these paperbacks over there, no hardcovers. Okay, I'm gonna do The Curse of the Wolf King. I'm gonna take this opportunity. It is probably the oldest book on my bookshelves that I haven't read yet. So I'm gonna go with Curse of the Wolf King. And if it's terrible, it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it involves Faye. And that has a 50-50% chance of being awesome or being terrible, and we'll just have to find out which one it is. So for a book with a monarch in the title, Curse of the Wolf King. All right, that's the 4th one, and now I need to get Heidi to pick another one. Okay, I've got Heidi, I've got a jar, she's got a hand, she's got a fling, and she flung a thing. Oh my gosh, oh no, oh no, no. She has chosen for me the hardest of the hardest prompts, a book written by Stephen King. Bum, bum, bum. I don't have as many options yet. I did recently order some. So there are some Stephen King books coming on their way, and I think I'd prefer to read one of those. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put, let me see which one I wanna read first. I'm gonna look at my list of what I got, and then I will tell you which one I choose to put on my thing, and I'll put it up here on the side thing. Hold on. Okay, so the choice I have when it comes in the mail, boy, I really hope it comes in time, but it's going to be Stephen King's The Long Walk, and I'll put a little picture here, I hope. And this is another dystopian book, and it's kind of a brutal horror dystopian where 100 or so teenage age boys are forced to kind of walk a brutal 4 miles an hour walk on end until there is a winner, and the ones who are left behind are kind of killed off by this just for entertainment in this very brutal society that they live in. And so it's a very dark book, but I do think it'll be because it's so like intense and high stakes, it's going to be very gripping, and it'll probably hold my attention better than some of the other ones. I have a couple options on my shelves, one being The Stand, which is massive, and I'm not in the mood for that right now in the spring, and the other being Billy Summers, which I do have interest in, but again, it's really pretty chunky, and I think The Long Walk is on the shorter end compared to his other books. So that's the one I'm going to choose for book 5. Okay, now I'm going to choose the next prompt. I don't know what color I should pick. Should I pick yellow? Should I pick blue? Should I pick green? I'm gonna go with this blue one. It says a book with a colorful cover. Okay, so something with kind of rainbowy kind of feel, like a really bright, happy looking colorful book. All right, so I have a few here. One is kind of a spoiler for what I have and haven't read in the month of March, and that is Butcher's Masquerade. I don't know if I would count this as super colorful. I mean, it is really colorful, but it has that black background, so I don't know if I would count that 100%. But it is like these fun neon pop colors of green, yellow, pink, and it does feel very like pop colory, you know, if that makes sense. So that is an option, and I do really want to get around to reading it. But to stick more with the prompts like actual thing, I think Passion Project feels really appropriate. This is a non-fantasy, of course, so there is that. But it is very spring feeling and spring coated. So, or maybe it's summer, I don't know, but it feels like that, the springtime of her life. She's kind of like reclaiming what she wants to do and finding her passion again. Then I have Magic Steeped in Poison, which is an Asian-inspired fantasy, which is like my fallback genre. Like, I really always know that I can rely on enjoying a good Asian-inspired fantasy, so I can place my favorite actors, my favorite actresses in a role in my mind and imagine them in beautiful costume playing these fantasy roles. So there is that. And this one, I believe, is where she accidentally poisons a relative of hers of some sort, and so in order to find the cure or get the cure or some kind of thing like that, she enters some kind of competition. This seems to be a big theme, but anyway, I'm really looking forward to this. And then I have The Sun and the Star Maker, which is kind of a newish book right now, and I believe it has a very Beauty and the Beast retelling kind of feel, which I have Curse of the Wolf King for, so I'm not sure if I want to jump into two of the same fairy tale retelling, but it's like a classic. Who doesn't love a good Beauty and the Beast retelling? I do think the cover is stunning, but I'm gonna pass on this just because I already have Curse of the Wolf King out there, and I'm probably going to lean towards one of these two. I really want to read this, but it's so huge, and I know that maybe I won't. No, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm gonna put it on again. I need to get through this because I am falling behind my peers. So I'm gonna read The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinneman. I've decided. So that's how it is. All right, that is book 5 on my TBR. I'm gonna call Emma, and she's gonna pick the 6th prompt. All right, here is Emma, and she's going to choose the 7th book for me, because I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the 6th, which I don't have yet in my possession. And here's Emma.
Okay, this says solid color
Says solid color sprayed edges. All right, thank you. Awesome. We'll have fun looking for those. All right, so here I am, and I've got a gigantic stack of sprayed edges that don't have a pattern on them. They're just a solid single color. One of these is the Whisper Wicks, The Impossible Trials of Benjamin Creek. This is book 2 in the Whisper Wicks. I don't know if it's a duology or a trilogy or what, but I read book 1 at some point. I don't know what month it was, or if it was this year or last, because my brain can't hold on to figures like that. But I do have the intention to finish this series, so there is that as an option. I'm going to skim through some of these and take off some that I'm not feeling. I do have Bridgerton. This is like another one of those, like, is it an anthology? Is it a whatever? I don't know what it's called, but it's got more than one book in it, so I would be reading the first book, not the second, and it's called The Duke and I. And everyone, of course, watches Bridgerton the show. I am also a part of that community. I have only ever seen the first and second season though. I haven't continued further yet, so that's on me. But I did really enjoy the first season of Bridgerton, and I would be curious to find out if I like the book version. I've heard mixed reviews about the books, saying they're not quite the same and that they don't have the same feel. So I might find that I actually don't like the books, and then I would be unhauling this, which is kind of a shame, but maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'll love it. So that would be an option. And then I also have, let's see here, what are some good options? I have Breath of the Dragon by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee, and this is by Bruce Lee's daughter, I believe, as the author or co-author of this book. And who doesn't love a great action-packed kung fu fighting awesome hero? Like, I love that. That is my dream hero. So this could be really good. I remember when I was sick in the hospital in early 2024 in January, and I almost died of pneumonia. And I remember my kids, they got to choose a book on the shelf to bring to me to read, but I was too sick to read in the hospital, so I never got around to it. So it would be kind of nice to take this one out for a spin and see if I like it. And of all these books, there's so many here. Is there another one that would compete? And there is one that kind of would, but I'm not feeling it as much. I think it's too much to sink into right away. So I'm gonna stick with these three options. One being a middle grade, which would be really easy to read and would help me continue with the series, so that's really great. The other is Breath of the Dragon, which is a book my children brought to me when I was in the hospital, so it has kind of a sentimental, like, I need to finish this book feeling. And the other is Bridgerton, which would be a massive shelf removal thing if I unhaul it, which I am suspicious that I might not love this book, but it would be also good to dig into, because who doesn't love Bridgerton? Like, the show is so good. So I think of these books, my options are going to be between these two. And I think I'm going to go with Breath of the Dragon, because I want to finish this. I want to read the book my kids picked for me to read. So that is what I'm choosing. That gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. And I'm going to do 2 more. I have a book I really want to read, and so I will try and fit it in to the next month's TBR, and if it doesn't fit the next prompt, then I'll just add it on anyway at the end, like the next 2 prompts, and I'll add it at the end anyway. So just so you know what it is, it's the Apothecary Diaries Volume 4, since I've read books 1 through 3. Like, each month I'm reading one because I'm addicted. Like, these are like crack. So we'll see if we can fit it in, and if not, then I'll just tag it on at the end, because they're really fast and fun to read anyway. Okay, Heidi said she's done. She's in the middle of her own thing. She's listening to music or whatever, so I'm going to choose for her on her behalf. And I chose a book cover with a cat on it. And guess what, guys? How perfect is that? I think the fates are listening to me. There is a cat on her shoulder. That's crazy. That's like the luckiest ever. People are gonna think I staged that. I promise, I swear to God I didn't. Like, I just reached in and grabbed the green card and that was what was on it. So lucky me, I don't have to do 10 books on this TBR, which would be ridiculous. I'm gonna choose 1 more to top her off, and that'll be it. All right, Emma's gonna choose my last prompt. A red one? No?
I'm citing.
Yeah.
Let's see this one.
Okay, what's it say?
Blind pick from TBR cart.
All right, a blind pick from the TBR cart. Okay, Emma, I'm going to have you spin one of the carts around and bring it towards me, and then I will just reach out, and the first book my hand touches will have to be it. Okay? So I'm going to close my eyes. You tell me when I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, everything's been moved around. Oh, I touched 2.
Then don't do it.
Okay, I'll go. Do I go up or down? Up top? The top somewhere? You're choosing for me. You're choosing for me. No,
No, there's ones I really want you to do.
That one? And it's The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. I know this is a low Goodreads score, but we're gonna give it a good try because look how beautiful this cover is. And I agree, Emma, this is a very pretty book, so this will be fun to put onto the list. Goofball. All right, so for a book with a door on the cover, I have Whisper by Lynette Noni. A book with a color in the title, I have Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. The second book in the Red Rising trilogy. The first trilogy, I guess I should say. Then I have a book with a single word title, Legendborn by Tracy Dion. Ding. I have a book with a monarch in the title, Curse of the Wolf King by Tassonia Odette. I have a book with a colorful cover, The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dittman, and I really hope I get around to this one this month. I also have a Stephen King book that's not, I don't own it yet, like it's being shipped to my house, and that is The Long Walk by Stephen King. Then I have a book with solid sprayed edges, no like designs or anything, and so the red sprayed edging worked for Breath of a Dragon by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee. And then I have a book with a cat on the cover, the most lucky pull ever, The Apothecary Diaries Volume 4. Yay, Mau Mau, I'm so excited. And then a not so blind pick for my TBR card because my daughter kind of forced my hand. She was like, so The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. And who could blame her? Look at this cover. This is probably one of my prettiest covers that I have at all. They did a really good job with that. Here's my physical TBR, and I'll eventually get that Stephen King book on there as well, which will be really exciting. And those are the books for April. Anyway, it was a really long video, I'm sure. It was long to film. I don't know how it'll turn out. I have a lot of editing to do because I had verbal diarrhea and my kids were fighting halfway through, and there's all sorts of stuff to kind of snip. So hopefully, I know I filmed this on the 22nd of March. Hopefully I can get it out before April. Wish me luck. And I hope you all have a wonderful spring. Enjoy some time outside in your garden. Read some books. All right, talk to you later. Bye.